Okay, so this is sort of off the cuff. I saw Young Washington with my grandfather one day before July 4th. July 3rd is when I saw it. Thankfully, it was a cheap theater. Got tickets and everything like that for me and him. Paid for popcorn, drinks, all that stuff. And I figured he'd like it. I genuinely liked it and was surprised of how good it was, especially from Angel Studios, because they kind of have like a thing where they're like they put the message of faith more to the forefront than the actual movie itself, and that can be a detriment, I think, to filmmaking when they push a message where it takes over the movie instead of the movie letting it be itself. And surprisingly, it's very, very little of faith message in it, which I was genuinely surprised because I thought that'd be like front and center. Obviously, they have it sprinkled in or like that, but it's not until the end when like I'm skipping ahead here, but this actually happened in real history. George Washington is quoted of saying he like looked at himself after the battle. There were four bullets, like not four bullets, but four bullet holes in his jacket. He's like, how the hell did I survive? Like I got four bullet holes in my jacket and I'm still standing. So that is they're just like Angel Studios was like, hey, God was protecting him. I mean, what else can I say? In George Washington's own words, he said Providence smiled upon him. Not the exact quote, but he sort of said it like that in one of his letters. I forget to if it was to a friend or a military colleague, but it was a letter where he said, "Hey, I found four bullet holes, and it was I don't know how I'm still alive." Now, I know I got sidetracked, but anyway, the movie itself is really well handled, and it feel like the way that they conduct themselves, the people feel how they would have back then, like to a good degree. Also, it shows that when George Washington was young, he had a lot of ambition of going past his station, in my opinion. He wanted to be a British officer. That's what he wanted to do. And yeah, so of course, it begins when he's a lot younger, where his father had just died. They gave everything to his brother, so he's sort of under him. And his brother actually, in the movie, of course, his brother teaches him the just different stuff and everything like that. And he learns as much as he can from his brother. And later on, he goes and tries to become a British officer. They say no. So to get around that, he goes to a high-ranking member in the British, like who has connections in the British Army, and goes to the party, sneaks in, and is able to meet him because, yeah, as he said, you're sneaking in while you caught me sneaking out. So, but he tells him, hey, I can map out this area that you want to learn about. So he does, and he finds that the French are there, and he's like, oh crap, we gotta tell the British because that this should be ours and everything like that. And of course, Native Americans find them as they're traveling back to tell the British that the French had taken over, and they meet a Native American that absolutely despises the French. So he kind of like helps him to get back, and later when he comes back with British troops, to basically ask them to kindly fuck off. He uses the Native Americans to help him ambush the French, and he doesn't want he wants to take prisoners, and he's like, hey, don't get, and then he like the Native American's like, nope, I hate him, and just like beats him and cuts him up with the tomahawk, thus starting the French Native American war. They call it the French Native American War, the Indian Wars, not Native American because that's not what they were called back then, but the French and Indian War. And so it's, at least I think it was the French in the Indian War. Don't quote me on that. I'm not that privy to pre-Revolution War. The only books I have read is Six Frigates, and I believe it's called Eye of the Hurricane, about the Revolution, specifically on the Navy side and everything like that. But that's a whole other topic. Anyway, with this movie, after he kills the lead of the French army or whatever, they're like, oh crap, we gotta prepare now and let them know that we did this and everything like that. Goes back and like, well, you really messed up now. So like the British officer, the British general, I believe, in the town, is like, you really messed up. So you have to go and defend this place. And that's when the big battle happens on in the fort, and they just like are not prepared whatsoever for at least the British that come and basically say, hey, we're gonna help you out, but you're just taking orders from us now. And so his friends like, hey, they're gonna shoot from the trees and just like decimate this us, but young Washington, George Washington, is too prideful in what he can accomplish and decides, no, we're going to stay at this fort and we're going to defend from here. And they just get massacred, and they have to leave, surrender to the French, and basically have to leave. But then later on, they come back with even more British troops, and and George Washington wants to come with after at first sending in his resignation, but his mother is like, you failed, and I would much rather you be with us, but you have a purpose and you need to learn from your mistakes and actually try and go back and help the British. And that's when he does. And even though it's still another like debacle, he's able to save his friends and a part of the British army that was behind enemy lines, and they're able to escape because of his quick thinking. And also, and I have a bone to pick with a little bit with the fake wizard when he goes, oh, he's like a superhero, and this film is made by for boomers or whatever. I'm like, I'm sorry, what happened during that actually happened, which is he went on the battlefield going back and forth, basically giving out orders, and the Native Americans were firing the shit out of him. And after firing at him for like a straight like minute, they're like, we're not hitting this guy, so there's no point of us actually firing him. And they literally stopped because they're like, something's protecting this guy. That's actual accounts. And also the four, like I said at the beginning, 4 bullet holes in his waistcoat, and he made a letter saying, I don't know how I'm still alive. That's actual like history in our nation. And so that it ends a little after the battle of him coming back and reporting to the general, and he's like, well, you survived, and I don't know how, because you have 4 bullet holes in your waistcoat, and so I'm actually gonna recommend you to become an officer. And it ends with that, and of course a little caption of text saying how he went on to become the leader of our revolution, basically our founding father, and fighting the British army in between 1776 and I forget when the revolution ended. Sorry about that. But what's interesting is they're going to make this a trilogy, and the next one will be about him during the revolution. What I find interesting is, because I've read a little bit of this in Six Frigates, a book I read about the formation of our Navy, the Whiskey Rebellion. And that's probably going to be the third one during his presidency. The Whiskey Rebellion was about taxation on whiskey, and how an actual former revolution, I think someone under Washington, actually like was head of that rebellion, and he had to put it down basically. And so it's going to be interesting how they tackle that subject material, in my opinion. And I'm really looking forward to this. And I'm sorry, Fake Wizard, but I'm a millennial and I like the movie. And I'm not particularly like completely patriotic. Like, oh, I love everything about like movies and TV shows or whatever. No, if it's a good product, I'll let you know. And if it's a bad product, I'll let you know. And I think this was a generally good movie. And I'm not alone, because the Critical Drinker, and Critical Drinker's like, yeah, like it could have devolved into a mess or whatever,
but it stood as a good film just in general, not just because of patriotism. Oh, you got to make this sure this movie makes millions of dollars. No, it's genuinely a good movie and good filmmaking, good cinematography, good action scenes with the battles and everything. I was genuinely surprised because it was like I keep on repeating myself, but it was a good movie, and I think the audiences, should see it. And from what I'm seeing online, people are liking it. Of course, some critics are critical of it and not liking it, mainly because I'm sorry, their politics or like that, and a lot of them lean left, and just it's just the truth that they don't like America. But there are some that like put away those biases and actually like it. But I'm like I'm middle, I think, when it comes to politics. I believe the left and right have good points, and I think everyone can enjoy this movie, whether you be left or right. Granted, if you're far left, I don't think you'll like it as much, but I think it is just stands as a good film, and I'm looking forward to what Angel Studios does with the sequels, with this trilogy. I'm hoping it's as good as this film and keeps the same quality. And there is actually some wit to this movie too, with its comedy. Now it's not MCU levels of eye rolling humor, but it actually has some clever humor into it, and gives some levity to it, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah, that's my review on the film, and I genuinely think it's good. Uh, Let me know what you think in the YouTube comments or whatever. Anyway, that's all.